Hi everyone, my name is Michelle and I'm Mama Loves You GB here on FlossTube, but also over on Instagram as well. Welcome to it's Sunday evening actually. It's not really going to be a briefing. I'm going to try and do a video that people have asked me to do several times, which is about how I stitch. So I'm going to do my best to try and show you how I stitch. And it's important that you remember that. This is how I stitch. This is not necessarily the right way to do it. This is just how I do it. And so I'm down here in my stitchy spot. It's on Sunday evening. The lighting is all a bit weird compared to what I'm used to. I've had to put big light on. So that tells you how serious this is. I've had to put the big light on. So I'm just going to show you around my stitchy spot first of all. And then I will try and change the camera angle so that I can show you how I stitch. So this is my spot. I'm a bit like Sheldon. This is my spot. It has my bum print on it. I sit on the corner of a two-seater sofa, usually with my legs tucked up underneath me. And as far as stitchy gadgetry goes, there isn't any. There isn't anything there. I have this light here, which is a BenQ e-reading light, which in the second half of this video I'm going to do a review for, because BenQ did send it to me for free in exchange for a review, and I'm really pleased with it, so I hope you'll stick around and watch the review for it at the end of the video. I have got, what else have I got that's hanging around here? Oh, this glorious mess here, which is hanging on an old IKEA light, which used to be my light, but I found that it's a very handy spot for hanging threads. These are mostly my fancy flosses, so I have them hanging there just so that if I want to make a substitution of something or I'm looking for a colour, I can just have a quick ferret through. I haven't got loads and loads of fancy flosses. Most of them are in their own projects, but these are just the sort of spares, the overspill that I leave there if I want to grab something different. In terms of where do I put my patterns, I put my patterns on the arm of the chair. The arm of the chair is just there. I don't have any holders or anything like that. I don't mark my patterns, so I'm not somebody who crosses off stitches or highlights stitches, so they are literally just there on the arm of the chair. And very often next to them is my phone because I'm watching FlossTube or something like that. So it's really not a particularly I don't know, fancy setup really. So if you were hoping to get some ideas about setup, then I'm not the person really, because I stitch in hand. I just sit and hold my project and stitch. So everything else is really simple. I've usually got things like scissors and that in the project bag, so I'll put them on the arm of the chair. They'll fall down. I'll ferret them out from the back of the sofa, or from down in this sort of glory hole area over here. So yeah, in terms of that, I'm not particularly well organised. I do sometimes have a little tray, one of those little table trays that sits on the arm of the chair there, but most of the time I just rest things on the arm of the chair. So I will try and set it up now so that you can actually see me stitching, and I'll show you how I stitch. So you'll have to forgive the improvisation here. I've just put a white sheet across my lap to try and get the camera to focus on what I want it to focus on rather than my toes. So the first thing that I'm going to try and stitch on to show you is this pattern here from Frog Cottage Designs. Now if you watched my FlossTube from this morning, so FlossTube number 38, this is actually a chart that I was given by Deb from Frog Cottage Designs, and she has given me 3 of them to give away. So if you're interested in this, check out the video FlossTube number 38 and you'll be able to enter. You might also be able to hear the dog snoring on the sofa. There's not a lot I can do about that. You'll just have to bear with. It could get louder before it gets better. We shall see. So I'm going to try and show you. I started this earlier today, and this is where I am. I'm stitching it on 32 count, so I got fabric that I dyed myself. And so the first thing I'm going to show you, I guess, is how I thread a needle. Albus, stop Sorry. So this is a Caron Water Lilies thread, and the way that I thread my needle is I just pinch it between my finger and thumb and then push the needle over the thread. Easy. And then in order to start a thread, what I do is I tie a couple of knots. Now, yes, I do. I tie knots. I tie knots not to stop the floss coming through the fabric. I tie knots so I can feel where the end of the thread is. Sorry, I'm trying not to bodge the camera as well. So, Albert, stop snoring. I'm also going to try not to show you too much of the chart. So because I stitch in hand, I tend to start up in the top left corner. So I've worked out where I need to start, and then I'm just going to roll my fabric. Albus! We shall see. So I roll my fabric. Now I know from the chart that the O starts two stitches away from there. So I'm getting the right place. So 1, 2. So that's where my O is going to start. Ah, lost the thread. There we go. So when I'm pulling my thread through, I feel where the knot is, and then I pull the thread back very slightly to make the tail a little bit longer. And then all I'm going to do, and this really is, let me try not to keep bodging the camera, feeling my way because I can't really see that well. So I'm going to go down through there. Sorry. Yeah, it is right. I've just got a bit of a thicker thread there. Up and across. Sorry, because I'm looking through a camera screen, I haven't got the range of movement to pull the thread. So I stitch with my bottom thread going from top left to bottom right, and then my top thread goes from bottom left to top right. So I need to do 6, 3, and I'll keep bashing the camera, and I just let the needle move under the fabric, and I'm keeping my fabric taut with my thumb and my finger. So it's getting slightly easier now because I've got less thread. So if I come back again, I tend to use this thumbnail for sort of flattening it out, and then I'm holding my fabric with those two. So I've never got 1, 2, 3, 5, 6. Now, as I said, this is the way I stitch. I don't railroad. And for me, this is fine. I'm not a perfectionist. I'm just not. I'm not a perfectionist stitcher. For some people, perfection is their goal. For me, perfection is not my goal. The craft is my goal. So it took me quite some time to learn to stitch in hand. I used to use Q snaps or hoops, so it took me quite some time to actually learn and practice, and I sort of had to admit to myself for the first couple of stitches that, or the first couple of projects, that they weren't necessarily going to be as neat, but what I would gain, which is being able to stitch a little bit faster, would be worth it in the end. Hang on, have I missed one there? Yeah, I've missed one somewhere along the line. So it doesn't help that I'm trying to look through a computer screen. So when it comes to frogging, I always take my needle back off and then I unpull it. Never try to unstitch. Always get in a muddle like that. So take that bit off. I'm sorry about the dog. He's had a hard day. I say that, he spent most of it inside sleeping in front of a fan. So I'm just going to snip off those ends, and then see if I can. Oops. There we go. Threading a needle through a camera screen is really hard. So let's get back to where we were. And try not to make the same mistake again. There we go. So I find it really hard to stitch one leg of the cross at once and then go back and do them all. I have to do a full stitch, and I find that I can move wherever I want to easily that way. She says, getting stuck looking through a computer screen again. There we go. So what have I got there? 4. Yeah, 4. So I should have come down to this next one here. For those of you who are new to stitching on linen altogether, basically what I've got is I've got a series of 9 holes here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And if you imagine it like a noughts and crosses board or tic-tac-toe, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make the first leg of my cross over the middle one, and then I'm going to make my second leg of my cross over that one. So I want to come down here and then 6, 6 stitches down. So try and split the linen threads. There we go. And the more you stitch in hand, the more even you will end up getting your stitches. It's one of those things that you just have to decide to practice. And once you've done it for a while, for me, it would be so hard to go back full time to stitching in a hoop or a Q-snap. So four along the bottom, and then one to finish. There we go. And then in order to finish my thread, I'm just going to turn it over onto the back and whoops, not do that. Pull it through. Now in this case, that little knot hasn't caught as well as I would want it to. So what I can do is just undo the knot, and then I can pass it back through and sort it out from there. I've tried many times to do the pin stitch, and it's not for me, although I did see another explanation of it today using the sewing method. So I might give it a go. So there is my O from this particular stitch, and I've got a little bit of fluff there. So that is how I stitch. Really simple, very few bells and whistles. I really like the sewing method because it means that I can stitch just that little bit faster, and I'm perfectly happy with the results. I've been doing something which has got 2 strands on it, just so it's a little bit more dense to kind of show you, but very often now I stitch on 36 or 40 count with just 1 strand, or my absolute favourite, which is 38 count. So I hope that's given you a little bit of insight into how I stitch, and I will catch you next week for the regular briefing. Stay classy, stitchers. So this is my review of the BenQ e-reading lamp that I was sent for free by BenQ in exchange for a honest review, which is what I'm going to give you. Now, they have been very patient with me because they actually sent me this lamp back in April, so I have really put it to the test. So what I'm going to show you is I'll try and show you some of the features of the lamp. It is about, let me just check, 20 to 10 at night. It is a summer's night, so we are in West Wales, so it is still light outside, even though it looks pretty dark in here. And what I'm seeing on the camera is a fair representation. So what I'm going to show you first of all is my old lamp. So my old lamp, if I just put this on, this is a little lamp that I bought from IKEA, and I think it cost me about £12. It just clips onto the shelf that you can see above. So the light was okay. I'm pretty lucky with my eyesight. I can stitch up to 40 count, so I got without any magnification. If it's 40 count, picture this plus, I probably would need some magnification, but most things I can stitch without any magnification. So lighting, good lighting's always good, but I'm quite lucky with my eyesight at the moment. So when they asked me if I'd like to try this lamp, at first I wasn't sure, because there didn't seem to be any UK stock, and to get one into the UK cost quite a lot of money through imports. However, they promised me that when they got the UK stock in, they would let me know, and so as soon as they got the UK stock in, they contacted me and said would I like to try one. So because they had stock in the country, I decided to take them up on their offer. So this is what it looks like before, and then what I'll do is I'll turn this little lamp off and I'll put the BenQ lamp on. It's this lamp, my finger, it's this lamp over here in the corner, so you can see it's got a really big wide heavy base, and then almost sort of like an angle poise arm there that you can adjust, and then this big wide scoop at the top, which is fantastic. So let me turn this one light off, and if I can do it without kicking the tripod, I will put this one on. So straight away you can see a massive difference in terms of the amount of light that comes from the lamp, and also the spread of the light. So it gives you a much more even light over a much bigger surface area, which I really, really like. The other good thing about it is that you can actually change the colour temperature of the lamp. So I've got it pretty much on a bright white at the moment, which is what I like to stitch with. But if I wanted to, I could change the colour temperature. I can also change the brightness. So if I just twist, oh, that's the temperature, go back. There we go. I can just dim or brighten as I want by turning the dial. And again, if I press the top, I can change the colour temperature of the lamp from very yellow through to the bright white again. And you just click it on the top, and then that allows you to change the brightness again. So as I said, I quite like it on the bright white. Obviously you can change the angle, you can pull it further out, you can push it further back, and I'm really, really impressed with it. Really impressed with it. Like I said, I've had it since April, so I've given it a really good test run, and I'm super, super impressed with it. I'll put all the details for the lamp down below, so if you're interested in having a closer look at it, or you're on the lookout for new lighting, then you can find out more details. The other feature it's got, which is pretty useful for stitchers, is you can actually change the lamp from a book reading mode to a screen reading mode. So this would be important if you were working either from a paper pattern or if you were working from a screen, so from a tablet. So in order to do that, you press the ring on the top, and that's gone to green. I don't know if you can see the little green, where's my finger? There we go, the little green light at the top. So that is screen reading mode. And if I press it again, it's gone to orange, and that is book reading mode. So it's got infinite positions, infinite different colours of light, setups for screens, setups for books. Fantastic. As I said before, I would heartily recommend it if you are on the lookout for a new stitching lamp.